Hello everyone.
Hello Rinpoche. Dashi Dili.
Okay, we start page number 9. Konjo Semba Bade Mebe Korwang Eze Yobai.
In the space in front appears the Guru in the form of Amitabha, surrounded by an inconceivable retinue of bodhisattvas.
Namo Konjo Samdan Zawasam Jamne Nam La Jazenje Rogon Sanje Language Chanjon Jon the Simje Do Namo Konjo Samdan Zawasam Jamne Nam La Jazenje Rogon Sanje Language Chanjon Jon the Simje Do.
Namo. To the three jewels and three roots, the places of protection, I go for refuge. In order to establish all beings in Buddhahood, I give rise to the mindset on supreme awakening.
Page number 28. Nong wan ta ye lo na me ran re chu ga ngom za che.
Hong, innate awareness is the form of Amitabha. Look at the mind that is free of subject-object duality. There is no other Amitabha than that. How wondrous is the truth body of self-knowing awareness.
Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi. Keep your life away. Keep your life.
Rinpoche doesn't look like Ina is online yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think we probably need some time.
Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa Shi, Om Dewa. Om Dewa Kibjula.
Okay, hello, I'm here.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, very clear today.
good.
Oh yeah, tene kamala thoma de tene samdra tahi shijitin tene tere manam oh Dewachen jiwe juje kapke junipa kazanga zote chapsang manro thomazwa junipa tene chosa drubjang kenane tene kazanga zon chupa mbasati shudrumne terenga ti ju tene mama test chima nenga chia tes tara dikpa shapatang tene jese yarangwa tesu tse shuna samsarwa dikpa shapa yinata jese yarangwa yina.
Hello everyone. So we continue the teachings on the four causes of taking birth in Dewachen. And so yesterday we came to the second cause, but we didn't quite finish yet with the second cause. And so the second cause was to accumulate merit and to purify obscurations. And so we finished speaking about making offerings in relation to that. And so also now I'm going to talk about the other branches of confessing activities and also rejoicing.
Da dikpa shabate samma ngana chowa khorang nana yore dambo tin choying samde yan chowa nana yong yore tene chosa dribjan se ya ta yinla dung go ne chosa tap te yan ko cho nana yo ande tene chowa nana dara de ma chokchi na tana ma la tene dikpa shap yin la de la thoma me ne tat pars thoma me ne ta jewa thoma ma bo ngana jewa ta ngana jewa ngam scaling ge yo jewa ngam scaling du tene jewa thoma jang mi ba la shi ga ta jang la chi ma the ba den ge jewa rampa mangbo nang la tene ngana so ga tara ma ge wa che tan do na lu nga yi sun ji go ne ma ge ba mangbo chi drubi yo wa tara penang ang che dikpa tang tongwa tang ranyin je dikpa tang tane su che tamse ge chanya la so patan do de ko dikpa yin ba kan che la dikpa ge ram de mangbo dubi res che wa thoma mi pa ne te tam che pa ngang zo ta sha go do ai tan do de ne sha pa se de kar se nge ta ha le ka ti nor so do se ro 다른 안한소티 주당 주소근로 당도 지는 안한소치 레카테 담봉하금 하모와치 레카테스 논천도 효유나 드니 논천도 효찰다 오데 논천이들 하고서도 오가 노서도 공다 라야치 요러와 데이터 다라 추근나네 가서 샤바세야 돼 된다고 지래 다라테 가레치는 노고 요레스는 딕바세야 돼 세네 녀몽 왕저베 셈데 만한소 셈 셈라라잉 뇨몽바 요라바스 셈쿠본 우보코란 네로코란 뇨몽바 마리데 다 셈데 로워 그 드마 단진 마렉바 생가서 망부히기도 더촐을 띵인데 셈데라잉이다 촌로제네 초랑이 고장마리데나 초데 남파 그 초던 레스는 초데 코랑이 쪽반 남치 차르도 대엔로 셈데 따라 로워 뇨몽발레테네 셈데드니 먹게와 ni semra yingi tene mgewa mangbo chi yong gore mgewa mangbo yo bal tene ngana tu jewa khashela le jimde shipa ge lu lang ne lemre ge tene ngana su chi ta koncho sumna de pa che yang ngana so so ge che domba tan tamse la so ba so ge domba tamse mangbo hye yang tu song ma ta ba chi ro ta so la yang chanya nyamcha song de ba de tamche yang sha go yo yang lu khashe ge tene ngana so tara 렘데 하마와진 참자 둔로글륜 참장인 성근에서 찌에로야 더 용요로 봐. 더 그때는 그 렘데 하고 요 말때 너드는 거랑 이게 빅바 먹게 망고 치산도 요로 봐. 근데 따땅아 저 륜들레연치 삼는 땅와이나양 다 빅바 망고 치 싹도 하싱한 중한 저 답지시 다 힘주 소소 힘주스 이거로 봐. 힘주스인데 빼나 세네 녀모 왕접에 셈 코랑 다라 녀모 몽바기 다라 다 녀모바 동아 도숨 다 몽봉아서 시게 요런 너드는 셈 코랑라 다라 녀모바 라파타 녀모바 차와 로와 먹이고 몽부 기도 되는데 그 참아 싸노다 싸는 되니 배 봉사실 봉데 드랭 딕바 쳔보 마제짱 딕바 충충 몽보 싸는데 타마코 장망자는 그 럽나 이 차도 딕바 먹게와 teni tela nga so les teni le de le tin jebe dong na wa se ti to so yong do as ten du teni ta te chama pha sha gro nga na sem nang ni sem ku nang ne ti non chul non chi yin ba ngo shi ne nga na so nam ju gong da la nga so ke je ji xi ye yo de sa ma ning thak ba ni teni nga ge sha pa se ne teni sha pa se no ko teni ning thak ba ni sha pa se ne ta sha pa se sa yor ka re yor tereng as sanjeo pamen dune ting agi tereng shapat figure rewa ngarang chu samota ngarang la chur dikpa magi walan jingnang chi rewa jin o tan di ngang ne ngi song thengri san tenin jingnang chi seng ten ten chur samota ne ten pa sha gures pen magi wa chotan chami banga ta nyomong ban chara thamje ten pa 샤 그래서 샤한테 되니 다랑 안서 데모나 송고도 딕바드 타라 되니 주바드 제부고는 샤 그런 맛은 주바면은 그 샤뺀다고 말이 송고로 주바면은 샤뺀다 베스 나제 딕바 콩도 독송다 노찬 직단 주바 침비샤 세기도 Same nanol ta dikpa te ngone chung pe do sungana ko banana de ta jing nang den ju ba chim bu ne tini sha na tini da go yore de ta bu ne tini sha go res
So also the branch on confession we can find in the sadhana. So all of these different branches, the 7 branches we can find in the sadhana, and they're related to accumulating merit and purifying obscurations. And so the next branch of confessing negativities is on page 11 in our sadhana. And so it says, I confess all evil deeds, the 10 non-virtues, and 5 acts without interval that I have committed, overpowered by mental affliction since beginningless time until now. So since beginningless time until now, from lifetime to lifetime. So we all accept that there are past and future lives. So we have taken on countless lifetimes in the past. And in all of these lifetimes, we have created the 10 non-virtuous actions with body, speech, and mind. We have committed many negative deeds. And we have taken vows, and we have not kept our vows, and we have fallen from our discipline. And so then there's those naturally non-virtuous things. And then there is breaches of vows and so on. So we have committed much wrong since beginningless time, and that is what needs to be confessed. And so what does it mean to confess? It means to recognize I was wrong. I have committed a mistake. And when sometimes first when we do something, we don't at first recognize that was actually wrong. So then we did something wrong, but then later, now you recognize, but what I did was actually a mistake, and I feel sorry for it. And so this is how we normally, when we feel sorry for a mistake, then we apologize. And so it's just like that also in the Dharma. When we confess, we feel sorry, we regret the wrong that we have committed. And so then why have we committed wrong? It is because our mind is controlled by the afflictive emotions. And so when a mind is afflicted and grasps at a self, and there is ignorance, and the mind is obscured by ignorance, then just naturally the afflictive emotions are present in the mind. But then, of course, the afflictive emotions are not present in the true nature of the mind. The true nature of the mind, the natural state, is never afflicted. It is just like water. And the water is by nature clear. But when you mix it with mud, then it becomes murky or muddy. So similarly, when the mind becomes mixed with the afflictive emotions, then naturally negative deeds will come from that. And so then we accumulate negative karma. In previous lifetimes, in several lifetimes, we have taken many vows and samayas in the presence of the 3 jewels and so on. And we might have broken those vows or transgressed them, had breaches in samaya, and so forth. And so all of these need to be confessed. So to confess them, we need to recognize the negativity, because if we don't recognize them, then it is those negativities that will plunge us into the 3 lower realms. And so this is why we have wandered in the 3 lower realms, because we have not recognized that this is karma. We are creating karma, that what we are doing is actually wrong. But now in this lifetime, in this body, we can really think about it. And when we think about it, even now we have accumulated many negative actions. So the point is that we really have to look at yourself. You have to analyze ourselves and really see the negativities and the afflictions within our mind. So we are overpowered by mental afflictions since beginningless time. When we speak about the 3 or the 5 poisons, there are many coarse and subtle kinds of negative emotions and tendencies that arise within our minds, and we accumulate them. So even if you're right now today, for example, even if you're not committing a very terrible thing today, then how we accumulate negativity is we accumulate small like pieces of negativity, and then but then there is so many of these small acts of negativity that when they are all accumulated together, they become like a large mountain. So this is what we call accumulating karma, and when karma is accumulated, then we will have to experience the suffering result that comes from that. And so all of that needs to be confessed. And so for confession, we need to first recognize I was mistaken. Just like normally when we do something wrong and then we apologize for it. So it's just like that with confession. We need to really confess from the bottom of our heart. And then who do we confess to? Now here in this context, we are confessing to the Buddha Amitabha. And so we, as it is said in the prayer for birth in Dewachen, so the way we are confessing is with great fear. So with great terror, you think about all the negative things that you have done, and think that these are the things, these are these negative karmas that will draw me down into the 3 lower realms. I need to confess them. So what we confess are the 10 non-virtuous actions and also the 5 heinous crimes, or extremely negative actions with immediate consequence, and all the other coarse and subtle afflictive emotions. They all need to be confessed. So for example, in the prayer of birth in Sukhavati, it says that if one does not fully regret one's negative deeds, then they cannot become purified. So one should them, it says in the prayer, as so much fear and regret. Eat poison, then you will regret that and you will be afraid. Just like that, so much fear and regret, like poison, you must confess all negativities.
Manzo Takia Trap Mambo Magiva Mango side and Hako to Mandoa. Roa, Tong to Mandoas. Penang to Low Chungchong and Tamagiva de Mambo Tin to Mandoas. Yena Tatang Anso carrying the door, Nagi Lutin dirt in Yena no se carachedo. Marab carachedo. The two seminary, oh, Naranga Sunza get no bottoms a Catenyamdo. The two seminary dream. Then Jane tate non tree in Bahakon, then it's similar to you, but then it's Yapachigores. That data with big bachimbo and answer with Jita, Simji and no chimbo and Maje, the Dragon Magiva, the Unjur Chimbo Mija, then Namjung and answer Tara, same Namon Tara Namdo Mambo in good to us, same Namdo Mambo in Query. That Namdo the Chitana, Tama, Matso Testi, Magiva Kona Ridiores. Caresina, Nai, but die, but any take it anything, Namdo Chung to the Dun Chubana Yungota. Nimar Namto Tender Jatong Chumbum Chendover, Tangazu, Semnanola. Then Donna Sama Magiva Jachandover. Then Mambo Chandi, the name Atsuchi, Magiva Chimbo Major, Chung Mambo Tangsa, and the name Tabu, then I'll dip a chimbo. Chakayores. That thing I get Jinshik, the Tambo Dikbat is a Hako. Oh, the need Tataya, they tab Dikba Chimbo to Pashakbachi. Then Tinshil Tina, the need Dikba the Yuma, there's a young road to us. Or the so there's Hako. Dikba Chunjo, Hida Jungo Mare Rawa, Dikba Chunjong Shida Jungo Mare, Samna, Mambo San, the thing you catch Chimbo. Ben and Namkan in Chapan Babudua. Chapan Bam do Chapan really Shiramando Nuba, no take Chimando. Chapa Shuk Chimbo Mambo Bamne. Dipji the Chapa Mambo Bam, the Tini Chulo Lasso by Yungudua. Chulo Yonatini, Trong Shortam de Kendria, the new Yungudua. Can Chapa Mambo Dom didn't date of Nubachane, Trong Short Kurtabachandua. Oh, Betena, you think I get her Namdo Tara Magiva Shuk Chimbo Mija, Namdo Chung to Sir Dom, the Ningara, Tama, Ta Magiva Mambo, Chane, the Ning. Dang Shulog Trumchurkovanang is in it in Ara, the knee Giovanni Teramang Putin in Sonson and Kundugo, Dungan and Kundugo. Or then the need so Pasha Bang Then Namju Tinshiji, so this Jason and this J, and Yong Tang to ya, it's what you is. That the two general didn't call Shapachawir. Tinshi Yona Shapancho to Chubaris. Penangasoji, Nimari Regan to Sosoji, Nimari Regan to Soso Tapchi Sigur, Roa, Maranga Magivan Namto Kachido, or Magivan Namto Jayum Titini, Nag going a Yena Marab Karakari Labdo. Roa, or Nag going Kaya Malabian, Sanguining and Magiva Kachido, or Luju Goni Yena no se Karakari Chido, or to Song Tapchi, Titun Java Tang. Titun Java, Matang Yena Chutane Shapaji Jena Yang, Chidibat not to be a Mari. Common tuning a cheat go your lega do it. And the what taco my. And then Shapa Jena Sinchi Mazewa and a Sinchi Dom sent it in a Shao Dipanda and Chodu Chubachawir. Sinchi Sola Pabia, the name Magiva le Chikimens a called Dom Senan and Odoas.
And so we have accumulated much negativity, much non-virtue for many lifetimes, from lifetime to lifetime. And we might not be able to see all of the things that we have done. Or even if you think about in this lifetime, we won't even remember many of the things that we did when we were at a younger age. But we can still bring to mind the things that we are doing right now. So for that, it's necessary to really analyze your mind and look at how much am I really harming others, or have I been rude to them? How have I been unfriendly and unkind to others? How often have I treated others with unkindness? Or what about my vows? Have I really kept my vows, or have I broken my vows or transgressed them? So you have to think about it and really remember those things that happen on an ongoing basis, all the mistakes that we always make. So the important point is that a feeling arises, and with that feeling, you have to confess. And so even if you haven't done anything great to harm others, other sentient beings, even if you haven't done something so significant, still, we always accumulate some small negativities and non-virtuous tendencies in our mind. So even if you haven't done something that's obvious on the outside, look at your mind, we have so many thoughts in our mind all the time. And when we look at those thoughts are, for the most part, really non-virtuous thoughts. They're non-virtuous because they mainly arise from the I, the me, the self. And because of that, because of this self in place, then all day long, each and every day, uninterruptedly, these thoughts driven by the self arise just like dust particles accumulating in a sun ray. So there's hundreds and thousands of thoughts constantly, negative thoughts, non-virtuous thoughts constantly arising in our mind. So therefore, even if you haven't done anything majorly wrong, that's obvious, the thing is that we accumulate those small non-virtues, and when they accumulate in the end, they become a huge amount of non-virtue. And so for that, it's important to be mindful, to see the negativity that arises. And so first you regret and you recognize them, and then later you also commit to not repeating those actions again. And so also it's necessary to not downplay those small negative things. Maybe you think that this is not a big deal, this is just a small thing. But if you think that way, it's quite dangerous, because these small little things, small non-virtues, they actually accumulate. And when they accumulate, they become really powerful. For example, it's just like when it's raining, a single raindrop is not so powerful, can't really do so much. But if a lot of raindrops fall from the sky all at once, gush down from the sky with great force, then you have flooding and so on. And this flooding can rip with it a whole city, a whole town. It becomes an extremely powerful wave. So when many of these drops, the power of many of these drops is concentrated, then it becomes quite powerful. And so therefore, don't downplay those small negativities and non-virtues, because they can become very powerful when they add up. So therefore, it's necessary to even refrain from the slightest negativity. So even if you feel that you haven't done anything majorly wrong, even refrain from the slightest negative thought, because these small negative thoughts, they add up in the end, and they become a huge accumulation of thoughts that is extremely powerful and destructive. And it is then the force of this destruction, which is just like wiping out a whole city through a flood, a tsunami. That kind of force is what then brings you into the three lower realms, brings you to a state of misery. And so therefore, we need to confess them all and abandon them all. And with mindfulness on an ongoing basis, you can really decrease them gradually. So first you need to have mindfulness, and then you analyze your mind, you investigate your mind each and every day. You look at your mind, how many negative things have I done? What have I done? Or what have I said with my speech? Have I spoken in an unkind, harsh way to others? And even if I didn't say anything to others, did I have negative thoughts about others? Did I just even have a wish to harm others, even if I didn't really actually harm them? So in this way, you have to analyze your mind, because through analysis, you can transform your mind. And if you don't, then you won't change. And if you don't change your mind, then if you don't change your behavior, then you might confess something today, but you will commit the negative act again. And if you commit it again, then even if you have confessed verbally, the negativity will still not become purified, because you continue to engage in negative activities. So therefore, after recognizing the wrong and regretting it, it's also necessary to have a commitment not again to repeat those actions. And if you are committed to not again repeat those actions, that is actually the supreme confession. So if you think that even at the cost of my life, I will refrain from any such action again in the future, and that's the supreme confession.
다 지시 라와리도 지시 라와데 지시랑데 다랑한 좀 차도기 님보서도 근데 지시랑데 하장게 기침부 차거요래 지시랑세야 가르치는 뭐 임바게 benna sawa zangbo jikiyo tele jisi yang ngarang jul tara danzin tang chado yuna me yimba ke tara jigni yuntin thong marabachi ni me yimbe sawa zangbo la tini jisi yang ma jebachi jisi me yang me ipe khala tini dadong chado ji su jikiyo res teni chado ji de tako 중 침보를 봤어. 차도대 차도 요나 나랑게 되지 랑 소소게 되지야 고미 빠zon도 그래. 배는 차도 요데 간사 식라 치랑나 주노 롬주 간데 먹고 간데 요나 초 셈발 되지 요 말이다. 가래전에 되지 요 말. 초 셈나는 차도요. 차도되게 치랑 되지 참마 졸라세다. 미빠세다. 다 랑기 되지 미퍼 제레 세고 말이 잉기 되지 야 미퍼 지거다 그래서 랑 차도지 대왕게 되니 잉라 당한게 따라 말아 망부 지거래 끼자 말아 망부 시거래 잉게 사와 장부 조원에 되는 차도왕 끼자 망부시 그러봐 잉게 사와 장부 시기요나 대 라나 만도와 나게 받치 망부 땅 받치 땅 듣고 요나 미나 다 강달 나랑 오니 다 근데 줘봐 정고요 가래전에 정고요. 된 차도게 배 줌하네. 로 차도 하장 침보는 줌하버지네. 근데 얘는 없었지. 타마 라인이야 눈나이 드치나에 콜라도 미빠져다. 차도가 랑야라 이야라 참말라 그래. 근데 단 차도게 님보라 지시랑 완센 담봉가랑 그 차도 등을 생거다. 나랑 뭐 임바질지. 대스 나와 만로가지 중고요나 가래전에 중도 그러봐 야 뭐 임바데 나라 말압 람도에 야 나라 말압 젠도에 그러봐 콩가랑 그 조보로 봐 공안한 거 좀모로 차도 된 거는 제가 연조지 지겠다. 그래서 나가를 힘줘서지나 좀지 힘밖에요 말에. 나랑 차도 요런 차도 왕게 되네 이해나다 마가와차. 되네 노세지. 들지가 되는데 되네 차도 된이 파트다 아 빵고레스. 되는데 되네 되게 님볼랑하게 가디네 지시 여랑 곰스. 뭐 힘밖에 사와장 뭐 지는 지시 여랑 곰. 뭐 힘바 약보 차거든 될라야 지시 여랑 곰. 들지고레스. 되네 다랑 안서 짜증나 손도 닌투다. 란자르당 다 니랑게 기버자와 산초심베 기버자와 너나 소소 지워게 따라 기버자와 타는 추메직 바바이나 디 기버자와 메토지 프로와인 딘 기버자와 대 탐제라 파지시랑 소소 지워게 기버자와 충충지 드고나 지시랑 라니 마랑 랑게야 기버자와 다들에 오 아메데와 셔신 르징도 톱송아이나 데라양 기버자와 yin amadevan tan choba pe in the pe amadevan datavan choba na nyam yu si o kurma si o to so chapur si ma yin bala ya ge kor si ne to so ge to so nga gen thongwa yin na tini te la nga ge ji si ya ma ji go res do na rang ge ge ba ta wa sa ba de yin ji ge ba ta ba gang sa ba yu na te tham ge la pa ji si ya ma ji go res 나한테 데모는 송고이와 인지 기와 시바 types 대란 차도무고 셈바나 닝네 가베 지시 이라나 대소나 냐도 토버송소 인지 사와잠보 기버자와 간 두고요나 텔 지시 야라와 제나 라니게 드마 톱장 되게 소남 등아 토부요레스 띵한 참마 소남 고요라스 아 대엔드 베 탑요나 탐케보요나 코 소남 슈트 드프기도 하스 जिस येरावा चेदे बायना सोना थोपदो हस तेने तेने जिस येरांते namjo ki chembo yimba tene tene rangi tene ge zawa 탐지 바지스 예라와 rangi 탐지 ge zawa 탐지를 지스랑 지거레스
And then so next is rejoicing. And rejoicing is the antidote to jealousy. And rejoicing is extremely important. And so how does jealousy arise? It arises when we see other people doing well in something, and then often jealousy arises. And actually, instead of being jealous, we should rejoice when other people are doing well. And the reason why we can't is because in my mind, there is self-grasping and jealousy. So then when I see other people possessing certain qualities, that they found certain qualities, and then I am displeased about that. Or when they engage in positive activities, I don't rejoice in that. And then and all of that is because I'm jealous at them. And jealousy is an extremely great fault, a great downfall, because if you're jealous, you are actually destroying all of your happiness. And when you're jealous, then no matter what you do, whatever happens around you, you will not be happy. No matter even how rich you are or what possessions you have, nothing will make you happy if you are jealous in your mind. And so you're destroying your own happiness. And not only that, you're not only destroying your own happiness, you are destroying the happiness of others, the other people around you as well. Because when you're jealous at others, then you are not very nice to them. And you speak to them in an unkind way, in a rude way, or you say and do things to undermine them. When they're doing some positive activity, then you might do something to undermine that activity or cause some obstacle. Of course, it's not sure whether or not you will be able to do that, but at least you will try if you're jealous. And it is because the feeling of jealousy is just too unbearable. So you can't really help yourself but do something to undermine the other person. So jealousy is a feeling that you just can't bear, and therefore you end up harming others. And when you do that, it often leads in the end to the ruin of yourself and the other person, the other people. So it's very important, therefore, to rejoice, to train a mind in rejoicing. And for that, first, it's necessary to recognize your own jealousy. So even the small tendencies that arise, for example, there's a person that you just don't like. So there's somebody who you don't like a little bit. So why don't you like that person actually? Is it because he said something bad to you, or is it because he did something bad to you? Why don't I actually like that person? Actually, the person is my friend, or my boyfriend, or my girlfriend, and so on. Actually, I'm close to these people. There's actually no reason, no specific reason for me to be so hostile towards them. And it's just because I'm so jealous of them. So this is how you recognize, you're just taking an honest look at yourself. And you recognize that when I'm jealous, I'm causing a lot of harm, and I'm engaging in a lot of negative deeds. And surely I have to abandon jealousy. And so what's the antidote? It is to rejoice. So you train the mind in rejoicing when you see that other people are doing well, are engaging in positive activities, and try to rejoice in that. So in the text, in the main text, it says, so I rejoice in the merit, all the virtue accumulated in the 3 times by the Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, ordinary beings, and the like. So any virtue that you observe others do, even the slightest virtue, even if they just offer a butter lamp, or if they offer a flower, rejoice in all of that, in the slightest activity. Or if they recite the Amitabha mantra, or just a single Amideva mantra, a single syllable of it, rejoice in that virtue. Or when you see that a group of people is meeting together to engage in this practice, rejoice in that. Or when you see somebody inspiring others to engage in this practice, encouraging others to engage in this practice, and so on. In all of these virtues, you should rejoice at any time, really, whether it's your own virtue or it's the virtue of others. And so this is also what is said in the prayer of to be born in Dewachen. And so I rejoice it says if I rejoice when I hear about others doing well, and I abandon jealousy, and I rejoice in their positive deeds with heartfelt joy, then it is said, this will make me obtain a merit that is equal to theirs. So if you wish to attain merit, rejoice in the virtues of others, because if you rejoice in their virtues, actually it is said you will obtain the same merit that they themselves are obtaining. And we all want to obtain merit. We all want to have merit. And so this is the way to accumulate merit. It is by rejoicing in the well-being and the goodness of others. So that's really very important, really on an ongoing basis, to rejoice in any virtuous act that is committed by yourself and also by others.
Jisi yorama sayate samba zangbu tandrewari de doas. Chado de samba nimba tandrewari. Tando dinan chado yenan chado ji chasona, tini tele yapo marina, duborina, samnitini sam tetang, yaporina tinin chado sape, machibecha, tri yongo yorobas. Tendu tini ngarangita sunam zeche larwa, ngagitara sunam ze gona tini sangingi tini sunam zeke yores. Sur sadu, sunam sadu, samba pinsim zambo yona tini sunam chimbosa. Tando tini jisi yorama yona sunam chimbos chotoku yore. Ta tegi doso tini chado de samba ngimpa chesona tini ngagis tanga sayi sunam changma tini mipa zonu yore. Nganasu namju sunguru basi. Sunam zeka sangi ches. Tando tini sunam nyami yungpa tala matil samba ngimpa chehota. Sama ngimpa de che tini tanga de sunam nyamba talis. Region zeka bungi ches penna machang yapo tendela. Tini sam muge pagi de marap yapo yuna tama te chang region zongo na padu kya tende che. Pa marap yamana pa wangbo chungji de so che. Tini ta te machang de region che yungo yu talis. Pe te taba ta sunam nyang tala tini sambang nimba tan chado la soba che yores. and then the so pay so la namju tam some tang or number chu say do number chu said so ngang tap chi say do mala pa him ju say rim do ngal so him ju say do ngal him ju say oh ngang cha do ji hen de ro ngang gi yin no se chi gi do de tap chi say do ma do ma yin be gari chi ta ya rim do 가지 나랑 답지시 난 차도 제도나 뭐 임발 노선 제도 어때 남상 빵거도 어때다 그 남바 거랑 기타 치주 찍대리도 하세
So a mind of rejoicing is related to a good intention, a good heart. And jealousy is related to an evil intention. When you're jealous at somebody, then you wish upon them misfortune. You're thinking, I just wish things don't work out for him. You have negative thoughts, but you don't wish them well. And then when things do go well for that person, then you're not happy about it because you're so jealous. So it is said that, if you wanted to destroy all of your merit, then you should have an evil intention, because that's what's going to destroy all of your merit. Likewise, a virtuous intention, wish for the well-being of others, is a rejoicing mind, is what creates the opposite. It creates merit and happiness. So if you're jealous and have a negative, evil intention towards others, that destroys all of your merit. So it is actually said that when evil, negative thoughts about others arise, that is actually a sign that your merit is coming to an end. So when merit is coming to an end, negative thoughts about others appear within the mind. Then you begin to think of them in a very negative way. Or, for example, it is said it is just like a sign of like an excellent, fine family line coming to an end is, for example, when a son is born to that family. For example, for many generations, the family was a very fine, noble family. And then when that marriage comes to an end, and for example, a very naughty or really disruptive child is born, or maybe someone with like a certain disability and so on. And that's a sign that a merit of a family is coming to an end. And so similarly, a sign that a merit is coming to an end is when evil thoughts and hostile thoughts, negative thoughts towards others arise within the mind. And so now in Buddhism, especially, the main, the key market, or kind of the main focus that we place in the Buddhist practice is in analyzing ourselves. We have to look at ourselves. We are not supposed to analyze others, what other people are doing, whether they are afflicted or not. We have to look at ourselves. Am I afflicted? Am I doing things that harm others? That is what you have to look at, not what are other people doing? Are they harming others? Because this is not the point of Buddhist practice, actually. So you have to look at your own mind only. Do I have a negative mind? Am I jealous? Do I have negative thoughts? Am I hostile towards others? And if so, then I have to abandon these negative thoughts immediately when I see them. So that's actually a quality, a characteristic of the Buddhist practice.
산지에 라페나 잠 자르지트 창바도 저거더니 추중 콜로 꼬로지 신은 소와 따바려와 대 추중 콜로 대 따바더니 소소게 기비 희년 안 발더니 추중 콜로 꼬 소완데 단 노르드나 남중안에서 효과 따본 누구요 심기 남제 삼바당 로이세라 제다바 지정도 못 추중 노르드는 심기게 로단 삼바 심기게 주단 삼바 그러와 왕보람ring 참바 단도네더니 추중콜로 꼬로지 세네더니 소안데 추중콜로 가려지는 뜨목이 뭐 자고 요새는 뜨목 써야 돼 맛이 빨리 가래 마시리 레 짐레 마시 제와 만스 마시 다도 좀 마시인데 되니 추준 콜로 콜할 때네 되니 게위키니 당 대다 탐지게 되니 알아 람톤시인 거를 되니 베 레게와 가래임바 레메게와 가래임바 되니 람톤치네 되니 빨랑하고 차인 거로 빨랑하고 차이와이나 되니 마렉바 또목을 줘고요레스 대인데 대해서는 되니 또목이님 볼 추준 콜로 콜 스완데 바리도스
Then number 5 is to supplicate to turn the wheel of Dharma, and that is the antidote to ignorance. So, for example, just like when the Buddha attained enlightenment, the gods Brahma and Indra, for example, supplicated to the Buddha to turn the wheel of Dharma, and then he turned the wheel of Dharma. And just like that, when a teacher, spiritual teacher, a Lama is giving a teaching, we also supplicate them first. For example, in the opening prayers, we say, in accord with all sentient beings, mental capacities and dispositions, please turn the wheel of Dharma. So we request the Buddhas, the masters, to turn the wheel of Dharma in accordance with the higher, the lower, and the middling mental capacities of the various sentient beings. So therefore, the request to turn the wheel of Dharma is an antidote to ignorance. Ignorance means unknowingness, not knowing. And what do we not know? We don't really understand karma, and we don't really understand past and future lives. And because we don't understand, we don't know, we request the teachers to turn the wheel of Dharma, because then through the Dharma that we receive from them, then we learn about karma. We learn what is virtues, what is non-virtues. They guide us, they show us on the path. Then we know what to do and what not to do. If we know that, then we will naturally become liberated from ignorance, from delusion. And so therefore, the antidote to ignorance is to supplicate to turn the wheel of Dharma.
되니 족바데 따라 그 냥일 만다와 되니 유스 소완데 바리도스 단 도는 집신 코라 마동 바 산제도 산초 선바탐지 심징기 돈도 되니 유로지 전에는 소완데 바리도스.
Then number 6 is to supplicate not to pass into nirvana, but to remain with us until the end of samsara. We request the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas to remain for the sake of all sentient beings, limitless as space.
되니 dum바팅 호아렌도 기브자와 단 도드랑게 룽아 있음 기브자와 두숨지 기브자와 단지 방호아지. 그때 힙차 대산이 요거래서.
And then number 7, the 7th branch is the dedication. And here we are dedicating all of our roots of virtue accumulated with body, speech, and mind in the 3 times. And we will talk about that in more detail tomorrow.
Yeah, 다들은 알아서 just share 그때서 just 가리. 저 산초 심지 시바타 대인바 저 산초 주 심고야. 되는 알아서 남주 산초 심지 돈바쇼. 되네 돈바쇼네랑 되네 냠스 산초 심 냠스 산초 심 넘버 니스 본줄 산초 심도 돈담 산초 심 니용고요와. 되네 때 탐징하게 됐어 라바트 산초 심지 랍자 탐지 되네 하게 됐어 장 되네 되네 냠린치야 딱 소용 것도 왔어.
And so then today we're going to move on to the 3rd cause of birth in Dewachen, and that is the support of Bodhichitta. And so normally we cultivate Bodhichitta. First we take the Bodhisattva vow, and then after that we practice the twofold Bodhichitta, which is the relative and the ultimate Bodhichitta. And then we apply the various trainings or precepts. We practice Bodhichitta.
되네 다라 산주주 센 넘버 니스 콘줍 산주 센데 돈당 산주 센 돈당 산주 센데 톱자긴 레베지 Kunzup Sancho Semti Topzi Gitara, Maranso Junrochi Chakayor. Ta Maranso, ta le tambo pala, ta tananga chen buji songso, Kunzup Sancho Semti Maranso Kichigiri songso, Maranso le tambo pala. Then ta Kunzup Sancho Sem Sendu, Dondan Sancho Sem Karere, Dondan Sancho Sem Shendu, ta Maranso Namjun Chowa Yorwa. Dondan Sancho Sem Chowa Mipa Chik Chagota. 돈이 기타와 또 신기해도 공주 산주 셈 조금 너든 셈 초와 여다 셈 초와 유바지 셈은 초와 유인데 대기 땡니 셈긴 탐지를 닝지 삼바체미 바지 닝지체미 바지 가리지 대 탐지 동안 통고 열어 동안 통에 되니 삼바드 닝지지 오 삼바드 닝지지네 되니 다대 탐지 되는 코바다 동안에 털고도 삼벌로 Teni titeni tam besorsia, tena ngaso konzup sanchu semsi. Jodang ngana sanchu semde chibi songodoa. Semgi namne manda dekare. Dor dena konzup sanchu semde semji tamji dongale tane teni tamji jingbu gongpang topgo sambalo telata ngana ta sanchu semse ta zo de hegedoas. Simkibani Yindos, Yanda Zobu Sanchum do Sonua, or Teritunda, long.
And so the Bodhichitta, we've said, is twofold. There is the relative and the ultimate Bodhichitta. The ultimate Bodhichitta is the result that is to be attained. And the relative Bodhichitta is the cause that will attain this result. Actually, Dorzin Rinpoche today, he spoke about the importance of the relative Bodhichitta, and he said that especially for us beginning practitioners, the relative Bodhichitta is really most important. So first, what is their nature? What is the ultimate Bodhichitta? So normally, for ordinary people, we have all kinds of feelings arising. And so the ultimate Bodhichitta is without any such feeling, without any of such passion. And the ultimate Bodhichitta is the realization of the view of emptiness. But in the context of the relative Bodhichitta, feelings do arise in the mind. And so we cultivate this kind of Bodhichitta on the basis of feelings. And on the basis of a feeling, we cultivate immeasurable love and immeasurable compassion. And why does immeasurable love and compassion arise? It is because we see the suffering of others. And seeing the suffering of others, we want to liberate them all from the suffering of samsara. And then if you make an effort in that aspiration, that is what is called training in the relative bodhicitta. So in general, it is said that the relative bodhicitta seeks to free all sentient beings from suffering. It acts for the welfare of sentient beings, while the ultimate, with the ultimate goal to bring them to the state of all-knowingness, of perfect and complete enlightenment.
ngaranso kunzup sanche sem kare chena ngaso kichi yore senas te ngaranso tara chowa yore was ngaranso chowa ngaso ta dewa ta donga kan chowa o chadang kan chowa mangbo yore wa te yo ndu ta te ta ba ngaranso lo ra pa jing ngola te ngaso lamsan toni tawa sancho donda sancho se toni ki tawa ngaso chi tubu mendo就当体现的对国长的这是解释有这的，你那样三个的那用啊，搞不来可不多啊是，的，是吧？人那着俺说的恰当的路学钱子的，恰当的路，对俺说的，都不我那个恰当的路的，马这么的当你大话当的多，马到我那俺说的恰当的路存着多啊是，存人的，等你打他工作上就是先。코라야 추와리 도와스 돈담사 말말 다라 공주 산조sen 추와리 차당글로야 추와리 도와 코라닌 추와리 다 돈담 산조sen 때 만트버리다 돈담 산조sen 만트버리 다 Dan truwa te karen truwa yagarisina kunzo sancho se samba zambo ro samba de ningi sancho sengoya te ta ngaraso truwa yagarido truwa yawa te tine tine mantraba nelog don to tugudo as tato toza ke tara donda sancho se to gudo as tara Taran truwa nu mazene ngaraso tara chadam mongsom lo te ke tine ngaso man koanan korido as tene taran truwa chadang ken truwa te dokje la tene samba de tsewa ninje sancho sen gom tene rampai jin de ya ta ko ngarang song khamba thoka nan rogo no kenza re gen de yan rogo do o te tab tene ngarang su kunzu sancho sen ge teng ni tene ngarang ge pena gewa drobya rawa dikpa pa ya rawa pena sunam go choja chim bo khaza ngarang su yin la dum chupa phor ya san chi ya 다 득바샤야 때 타지 나한테 공주 산초 생그 지신 거다 지신은 되니 디게와다 랍침 붙여거다 주메 깡기 번네 산초 샘지네 타토 산지게 상지벨 롱띵버도 요러 피용 가르치는 공주 산초 샘지요 갑데디 되니 텔레탄 니파 피용 침보 페테 타버티니 나한테 거다라 룡아게 게와 강르바이나 되니 삼바장부 예나 핑고 산지지 공방도고 야마나 값을 봐봐 산지여 빠미싱은 심지 탐진 구고 삼바드니 로테게드니 나초겠다 게와드나 드니 공주 산주신 잡여레스
And so why is it now that the relative bodhicitta is most important to us? It's because we have a lot of feelings. And we have feelings of happiness and sadness. And we have feelings of attachment and anger and so on. We have so many different feelings. We have coarse and subtle feelings. And so because we have all these feelings, we can't just immediately just place our mind in emptiness and just give rise to ultimate bodhicitta. It just won't arise. And that is because now we might receive teachings on that, and then while we receive teachings, we might actually understand the meaning of them. It is possible, but then it's still quite difficult actually to have a real experience of that in the mind. And that is because our confusion, the delusions of attachment and anger and aversion are just too powerful because we have all these feelings in the mind. So of course, from the perspective of a realized mind, all these attachment and anger and so on don't exist. But now for someone who has not realized that, they are confused. They are deluded by these thoughts of attachment and anger. And in that context, we have to cultivate the relative bodhicitta. So at a time when we are confused by attachment and anger and so on, that is when we cultivate the relative bodhicitta. And actually the relative bodhicitta itself is therefore in a state, it happens in a state of confusion. So therefore, it being relative implies that it also is related to confusion. The ultimate bodhicitta is not related to confusion at all. But then the relative bodhicitta is the better sort of, the better kind of confusion that you want to have. If you want to have any confusion, then it's the confusion of love and compassion. So it's the better sort of confusion. And so it is also through cultivating this like relative, so to speak, confused bodhicitta that one actually as a result realizes the ultimate bodhicitta. It comes from that. And so for the time being, we have not recognized the ultimate. And so that's why we have not seen our own confusion. That's why we are afflicted by thoughts of attachment and anger. And that's why we wander in samsara. And so as an antidote to turn around these confusions of attachment and anger, we have to cultivate, meditate on, train the mind in love and compassion, in bodhicitta, gradually, step by step, just like you're going up on a staircase to the roof of a building. You can't just get up there in one step. You have to take it step by step. And so just like that, you begin with cultivating the relative bodhicitta, and on the basis of that, then you cultivate virtue, and you give up non-virtue. You accumulate merit. You practice the 7 branches of prostration and confession and so on, making offerings and so forth. You cultivate the relative bodhicitta. That's most important. So with the relative bodhicitta, you accumulate great merit. And for example, it is said that even through having just offered a single butter lamp wick with the mind of bodhicitta has led to receiving an enlightenment prophecy from the Buddha. And that is because the offering was made with a mind of bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta in the mind. So that's surely very important in whatever we do, whether it is with body, speech, or mind. Any merit that you create, any altruistic thing that you do for others, or here in this context, the practice of the Buddha Amitabha, you should do it with the intention of bodhicitta, thinking that I am engaging in this practice in order to bring all sentient beings to the Pure Land of the Buddha Amitabha. So any virtuous activity that you do with this state of mind is a training in bodhicitta.
Okay.
Time is over.
Okay, now we play in page number 28 to 29. We just read English.
Okay. Hong, innate awareness is the form of Amitabha. Look at the mind that is free of subject-object duality. There is no other Amitabha than that. How wondrous is the truth body of self-knowing awareness. Hong, transcendent conqueror, protector, Buddha Amitabha, and noble assembly of loving bodhisattvas, compassionately look upon us, afflicted beings, and guide us to the pure land of Sukhavati. In accord with your past bodhicitta vows, not wavering from the sacred bond, deity with great compassion, please exhaust all negative karma and empty samsara from its depths. At this very moment, please act as our guide, as I, with intense devotion, have thus invoked the enlightened mind. Red light rays of compassion radiate from the heart of Amitabha and dissolve into the hearts of myself and all beings. Self-grasping, misconception, and delusion have collapsed in themselves. The state of selfless Dhammakaya is realized, and I rest in the nature of clarity and emptiness, free from grasping and elaboration.
Page number 30, first line.
By all the limitless and sacred merit obtained through this meditation and recitation, may all beings drowning in the river of suffering attain the supreme state of Amitabha. May Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, arise where it has not been. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
Higher and higher Bodhicitta. Okay, everyone.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you, Rinpoche, for your precious teachings. We have now reached the lunch break, but before we go on for lunch, there are just a couple of announcements.